In the Jurassic franchise, there are two types of people: wrong people and people who believe the dinosaurs should be exploited for money. And luckily, I'm on the right side of that. And today, I'm trying to make a 5-star park in Jurassic Revolution 2 while making it as unethical as possible. Let's get into it. So basically, what this video is going to be is just me doing a voiceover of me building my unethical park. But I just feel like it's a better way for me to give commentary, and I can also use my better microphone because the one I use with my PC is pretty butt. So yeah, this is just the beginning of my park. So I decided one of the best ways to start making money is to instantly throw a restaurant right in the guests' faces as soon as they enter the park. I thought it'd be pretty funny if, to start out our first unethical thing, we make it so pretty much the food, which this is burgers, is made out of the actual dinosaurs. So I'm just constructing a little invisible fence cage, but I gotta make sure I hide this later because can't have the guests know that we're hurting our dinosaurs, or not treating them with the utmost respect that they all deserve. So I realized that and instantly go to cover it in a bunch of blue containers, which I feel like are pretty good. The thing I like about this game is the decorations. Like they serve as fences, and with the amazing no hitbox mods that I have installed, I can just place them on top of each other, and it makes a pretty cool pattern too. But it's just like that. It's a fence that nobody can see through. See, and how it's almost vibrating over in the top left corner, which I think is pretty interesting. So yeah, while I'm building this, I might just ask you guys to subscribe. I'm still a fairly small YouTuber, and maybe one day if I'm a lot bigger, you can say, I watched this guy in the beginning. So y'all should just smash that subscribe button. And yeah, so back to the video. I decided that first off, I have to actually feed these guys. I could have made it so where I don't have to feed one of them, but I feel like if it's gonna be an actual park, I still decided I should actually treat them with at least a little bit of care. And I will warn you, for the next minute, I keep on messing up the stupid water thing, and you can see the anger in my mouth. Just I get it the perfect shape, and I start remembering the perfect shape, and I still keep on messing it up, and it was getting really annoying. And I almost just scrapped the entire thing, all because of this one little puddle. So this puddle almost didn't make this absolutely peak video happen. So yeah, we should all not like the puddle. How long did it actually take me to do this? Gosh, this is the funny part of voicing over something after I've done it. It's I'm even surprised too. Alright, I finally finished it, and I just want to smooth the terrain because it's got to be all flat. And just like that, the enclosure is finished, I think. Oh no, I double checked that the guests can't even peek through and see these things. Because yeah, you can't let the dinosaurs be known about. So yeah, I decided to use the comp selecting at this, specifically the rebirth skin, because for those who don't know, in my last video I made, my Jurassic World Rebirth mod review, this little bugger crashed my game 2 or 3 times. It was so annoying. So I honestly didn't feel bad about, sacrificing these guys at the restaurants. So yeah. Also, I have no idea why their numbers weren't negatives, but that was pretty funny. But yeah, not even that good of a skin. For some reason, I could just not hatch these guys out of the hatchery. But yeah, just with that, the first part of our unethical park is complete. So there we go. But wait, there's more. Yeah, I had to make sure, and just to add a little bit of salt to the wound, I fully customized the restaurant colors to be the colors of the Rebirth copy, and that dark reddish, which I already used for a lot of my YouTube stuff, like the text in my thumbnails, which will probably be in this video too. So I just thought that was a little bit of a dark humor, a little funny. But yeah, let's get on to the next part. Mwahaha. I like to apologize for those past bit of outdated sound effects. I just wanted to bump in and let y'all know that I'll be coming in every couple of clips just to explain what's happening and what I felt like I needed to add at the time to make my part just a tad bit more evil, you know. But back to the video. I put this next clip in 1.5 times speed just because I feel like I went a bit slower in this one. But I felt like next I needed to add an actual dinosaur enclosure because it's a dinosaur park. If I want 5 stars with a lot of money, I need to actually have some dinosaurs that my guests can view, you know? So at first I just needed to build a pass for my layout of the park, but I felt like having an enclosure with all of like the most fan favorite herbivore dinosaurs, or herbivorous dinosaurs, crammed into one enclosure would be a good idea. Then I felt like I should make it a lot smaller too because it's more evil, but also they can't hide. But just to add a bit more of evil, I made it concrete fences so they can't even look through it. I mean, normally they can't, but I'm thinking realistically now they can't. So they have to pay for more money to go into my gyrosphere. And why not? Why don't we just make this gyrosphere extra painful, you know? So I decided to, as you can see, just make it very windy, because I felt like if I made it really windy, it would increase sales, you know. It's like sometimes the extra long rides tend to be the more fun ones, you know. Sometimes not always, but I felt like if they went on a longer ride, they'd recommend it more. Like, see, this thing, we only pay this much because you go on this much of a longer ride. And yes, unfortunately, I did have to like not fill out the entire cage because I needed some space for some water, or else the dumb things will die because animals need water. Never would have guessed that. So yeah, I was struggling to get water in here actually, but then I realized I was still on the removing water, and I just had to add some. I knew I had to add some leaves and some greens for the creatures, but I didn't know what they needed. So first I added 3 Brachiosaurus, then I added like 5 Stegos. I was really struggling to find the dinosaurs here. 5 Trikes, just because, you know. And then I also added a few. I was looking for Gallimimus and I could not find it at all. I was starting to tweak, and I had like 7 or like 9 of those, or 10, I don't know. And I added some Parasaurolophus too, because I feel like those are like the most like iconic, popular herbivorous dinosaurs. And then, you know, I just gotta check all of their foods. So I just added a little bit of all of the possible foods for the herbivores, but making sure it's enough that like they're still not happy with it. And I know Comfort's not on yet. Comfort's not on, but I made sure to add it in later. That way we can really see how happy these dinosaurs are in their enclosures, you know. And yes, I had to fill it out, and then I made sure to also make it so every 50 meters there's a gyrosphere going out to, so I can maximize my profit. Is it over? Sorry, I got a bit carried away recording there. So yeah, the park is actually going pretty well, I would say. Going pretty evil, but it only gets worse from here, so let's just get right back into it. So yeah, I've decided I'm going to speed out the rest of these clips to 1.5 times speed. The first clip wasn't, but the second one and the rest will be, just because I don't feel like I can yap for a full-on 6 minutes about each little exhibit I make. But I decided next I should definitely make like an aquatic exhibit, because most zoos have a pretty cool aquarium or something cool. It's like not on land, not focused just on land creatures, you know. So maybe like a bird exhibit or like an aquarium. So I decided, of course, to do the classic Mosasaurus, but I realized if I use the shark feeder, then it might jump out of the water, and not paying customers for the viewing gallery or viewer stand might be able to see it. So I decided to, unfortunately, or fortunately, because it's evil, feed it fish. Because it'll still eat that, just it won't be happy. But I also decided to be more evil, and I made 2 viewing galleries, one for underwater, one for above water. That way, if you want to see both angles or see which angle is better, then you gotta pay for both. So yeah, I thought I was pretty clever for doing that one, you know. And then I was like, low health, what's going on? What's going on? And I realized these stupid compies weren't drinking the water I gave them. Like, I really stressed about getting the water perfect earlier in the first recording, and all of a sudden they just start dropping like flies. And I don't know what's wrong with like the terrain here. I think it was the decorations, but yeah, it was just like not working out. And I was actually starting to get panicked. So I was like, really on film? I wanted to do that whole entire Mosasaurus thing again. And I was laughing, but it's like I was panicked too, and I was like, oh great, now I just like dug a giant cavern. So yeah, luckily I do end up getting it fixed. I'm like, what is it wrong with this water? And I just like realized, oh okay, I'm gonna have to have a big puddle here. So that did fix it, but we did lose some of them. Or I no, I guess we didn't lose some of them, not this time. Or oh no, we definitely did. Quite a few of them die, which is very unfortunate. But luckily, with this spawning tool, we can always just restock them. So I might have to restock them later. But yeah, back to focusing on the Mosasaurus. I think this is a pretty good unethical cage. It's very small. It can really do like two full strokes of swimming before it has to turn back around. And yeah, the gyrosphere, it it's working, you know, if you want to call it that. But yeah, let's let's cut back to current Keegan. Bye bye. Wow, that was pathetic. But at least on the bright side, I will say this park is definitely starting to look pretty unethical. You know, we already got a bunch of herbivores that I think some of them like each other, like the Stegosaurus and Triceratops hate each other, crammed all together, and we got the Mosasaurus in like the smallest little lagoon I could possibly make, and of course we got the Compy burgers. So yeah, this is going pretty well so far, and hey, we're actually getting some good stars in now too. It was then when I realized, wait a minute, my guests are human, and humans have certain needs, and especially if I'm going to be shoving food down their throats the literal second they walk into the park, they might need to use the bathroom. So I decided to make a conveniently placed uh, restroom, making sure that the path does not actually reveal my secret with my compy burgers. But I also decided, hey, if I have the bathroom here, this long strip of paths, might as well make some money out of it too. So I decided to put down some small amenities, just begging them to, oh, you gotta use the bathroom. You should probably check all these stores for a bathroom first before you start finding the actual bathroom. Also, ignore the low health sign. We're just gonna see that on and off the entire rest of the video. Not trying to do some evil foreshadowing, but yeah, just those copies. I decided to also add just little hotel too, because hotels are good and those actually help my star rating a bit. And then yeah, I decided not to add emergency shelters now, which some foreshadowing here will actually cause me some problems later. So I decided to do a bunch of amenities, which was probably a bad idea looking back on it, because I didn't configure them at all. So yes, I had good coverage, but I had very bad configuration, which you need both. If you have good coverage, bad configuration, or good configuration but bad coverage, you won't be making much money, and you'll still get bad ratings on your reviews. So any park builders out there who use amenities, be careful with them. And finally, one more small hotel. I decided to use the Jurassic Park one. That way I could give it literally the best view ever, and so my copies don't get revealed. Which, I just need to show off this real quick. Like, look at this. Concrete wall. Like, literal best view ever. And hey, you can see some crates, third person sightseeing. But that's literally about it. So, yeah, I had quite the good laugh with this one. But I decided that we need some decorations in here too, because hey, I mean, this is kind of looking like just a bunch of construction and the occasional dinosaur here. So I decided to add a nice little fountain, and I saw these big pile of dung, and I thought, hey, I think it's a pretty accurate representation of my park, so I decided to add them around the fountain too. Before you make fun of me, yes, I know I totally ruined this circle, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to like make it good and finish it. So hopefully Evolution Square doesn't see this video, because she would not be happy. But yeah, I decided it's that little piles of dung just for a bit of humor. And yeah, that's this section. I'm finally starting to actually get some guest amenities up in this place. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest, probably not a good sign for mental health, but I was having way too much fun making this park, like, just making it, trying to make something bad. Honestly, you end up having a good time out of it, so yeah, 10 out of 10, I would definitely recommend doing it again. I suddenly realized the lack of carnivores I had, besides the compies, but considering those were literally being fed to our guests, we didn't really have any carnivores. It doesn't isn't the Mosasaurus a carnivore? It eats their animals. Technically yes, but this game classifies it as a piscivore, so I don't want to hear your whining. So yeah, to make up for my horrible circle earlier, I decided to actually make some decent paths over here, and yep, you gotta delete that little bud. So yeah, I decided over here we'd finally get some carnivores up in here, and I was thinking something crazy like a dinosaur fight club. And also, I decided to leave the copy in there just because, they'll eat it and then, like, it's more healthy burgers. But I also decided to replenish it because I was starting to run low on copies. Gosh, this is, so evil. But yeah, I decided, unfortunately, you'll see this a lot. I have to add water that we don't die. But yeah, I decided to add a whole bunch of carnivores, T Rex. I also decided to add a bunch of uh, Homolocephalus, Homolocephalus, which, yeah, don't last very long, shockingly enough. I decided to add a bunch of carnivores, and I decided not to add some of the mod carnivores like the D-Rex, but I do use a few of the mods in my in this park, but I don't use any mods that I haven't already showed off in a previous modded video, so if anything, that just gives you an excuse to go back and watch those videos again. But yeah, shameless self putting out of the way. I realized I had comfort turned off, or yeah, comfort turned off, and dinosaur fights turned off. So I made sure to keep the herbivore being able to engineer fights turned off. That way my herbivores don't kill each other. But yeah, I decided a secret dinosaur fight club would probably be pretty interesting for my guests to watch. And yeah, it was pretty funny watching it. Then I realized just how unhappy you can make these dinosaurs. So a bunch of Homalocephalus later, and a bunch of dinosaurs fighting, and here we go. And don't even ask me which dinosaur had the most infamy and stuff, because yeah, they just kept on winning and losing. And also, I saw this new icon or badge that appeared whenever a dinosaur won a fight, which I thought was very cool. I'd never noticed that before. That might be like an old feature. Y'all can let me know. But suddenly, I had like the breakthrough of the century. What if I do a Jurassic tour truck thing inside it? That way we get even more people to that way we get even more money from people. Crazy setup right there. But yeah, thought it was a good idea, and I knew it was gonna get shut down by dinosaurs attacking it, but it actually lasted pretty long. I forget exactly when it got shut down, but that happens much later. I also noticed this black Giganotosaurus, so I just had to be careful saying its name, or else I might get accused of calling it something else. Who the is Gigan? Oh, this video is so getting taken down. But back on topic, I suddenly realized the lack of an aviary, and I realized most zoos have at least one kind of every single type of vertebrate, which includes birds, so I feel like flying reptiles is as close as we can get. So, yeah, let's get the aviary done. So yeah, it's time to make the aviary, and also I'm really glad I'm voicing this over afterwards because I had the most career-ending voice crack the first time recording this segment. So boy, am I glad I got to record that. And now I already deleted it, you can't hear it. But yeah, it was time for aviary, and I quickly realized that because they can fly, they might go a bit too fast and they might not be able to see it from one of the viewing galleries. So I decided to add 5 more just in case you couldn't see them, which I feel like was a pretty smart idea on my part, because now the guests might go into the viewing gallery and be like, oh, this view's bad, but hey, that one's not, so they might have to go pay for extra, because in my perfect world, every single viewing gallery in Gyrosphere is paid for by each thing, so that's by each guest separately. So I decided to add a few Pteranodons, a few Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodons. Also, I figured out how to not make them black anymore, so I didn't mean to make it super ghost white. Now I really look racist in this video. Yeah, my PNG is not coming back. But I also added a Quetzalcoatlus and Rebus Quetzalcoatlus just because I thought they both looked cool. And yeah, that's the aviary done pretty much. So had to make sure to get a good view. And yeah, this carnivore fight club's going a bit crazy. So I started to restock on homocephalus, and let's add a few more pack hunting creatures too while we're at it, because you can never have enough chaos in the uh, secret dinosaur fight club. Bye bye. So even though the Tyrannosaurus incident was quite silly, I soon realized I was missing one of my favorite dinosaurs, the Spinosaurus. But even though it's one of my favorites, it's still an unethical park, so unfortunately, it can't get special treatment. So you already know how it's gonna go. So as I just said, it was finally time for one of my favorite dinosaurs, if not my favorite dinosaur, the Spinosaurus. So I decided to actually give it a decently sized enclosure, but still pretty small compared to like the basic needs of a Spinosaurus. So unfortunately, it sucks to suck. You were born into this thing. So first thing I did was, it's a swamp creature, so I had to give it a small little bit of water. It likes fish, so I give it meat. And I gave it sand, not to represent a beach. There's more water as a beach, but no, it's a desert with a small little bit of water. So yes, I'm so evil. I'm so evil. I decided to be a bit extra nice, a bit extra lenient, and I gave it a bit of grass on like the edges of its enclosure. That way, it doesn't like really like get depressed. But yeah, I added in a Spinosaurus, and I also added in a Reaper Spinosaurus, but I had to make sure it wasn't black. Also, I don't know why this mod of the Reaper Spinosaurus. I love it though. Things with Viral Cyclops. It's so much bigger compared to the normal Spinosaurus. They could have like made it smaller because it looks smaller. But no, it's just absolutely huge. I was still toying with it, decided what color I want. But I decided I finally like this one. Uh, so yeah, I thought that was pretty good. But I decided that I didn't really want to like just like be looking at it. So for all my thrill seekers out there, I decided to make a zip line, and I decided to make another zip line, and then I decided to make another zip line, and another zip line, and another zip line. And I'm gonna stop saying another zip line because I think you guys get what I'm going for. I just kept on making zip lines. I don't even remember how many times it was. I remember I flipped that one the wrong way inside out, and I was like, oopsies, now I gotta go fix that one. But yeah, I just kept on doing that because I thought it was funny, and it was pretty funny. And I even made one for the non-thrill seekers who don't want to get too scared. So yeah, and it is pretty funny, but it's like it's a bit overkill. How many was I really gonna make? And I had to make sure that the paths wasn't like too much of an extra wide because you don't want your guests walking a whole lot without spending any extra money. So of course they have to go to the enclosures as quickly as possible. So you got to make the shortest paths you can. So yeah, just got to clean up those little extra bits and pieces and just connect slowly every single zip line. And at first I thought it was saying that because it was crossing paths it wouldn't like connect. Then I realized if you have one path connected to the zip line, but the other zip line half isn't connected, it just shows how it's unavailable. So the second I started connecting them all, it was perfectly fine. And just like that, the crazy Spinosaurus zipline area is over. And yeah, just riding it, it's really funny. And I learned if I made it in like 2 times, 3 times speed above it, or even in slow motion, it just looks really funny. I don't know why I thought to do this, but I did. And I soon realized that the shadows would probably drive the Spinos crazy. So yeah. And also checking back into the Dinosaur Fight Club. The dinosaur died right in front of the tracks, so all the cars are stuck there, so that'd be a terrifying ride to be in when it breaks down. So I decided a whole bunch more of the smaller carnivores just to see it. And yeah, it definitely added more chaos to it, which is pretty funny though, I'll admit. So yeah, anything to make it more unethical and more chaotic in this park. And we're almost at 3 stars. I totally forgot the whole purpose of this video was to get to 5 stars. I was messing around so much, but yeah, pretty cool. We're actually traversing through this crazy hard challenge. Oh yeah. So yeah, this park is going pretty good right now. Don't really have anything else to say currently, but there's probably going to be a few things to say after the next intermission, so I'll see you then. Alright, I don't want to spoil it. This is probably one of the most important clips of the entire video. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can up my park rating, I think it's going pretty good. So I started adding a few restrooms everywhere, especially around the zip lines, because it's going to be so terrifying you might have to just pee yourself, a little bit overkill, but hey, I think it's funny, you know. Lots of restrooms. One by the super scary aviary. And I realized, what? How? A velociraptor escaped. Probably got thrown out by a T-Rex or something. But I thought that was really funny, and I thought, you know what? Let's make one dinosaur have a pretty good life, but because it's still unethical, I decided it's a velociraptor. It's a pack animal. So I decided to give it a perfect enclosure. I mean, it's a bit small and everything too, but it's fine. But I decided to make it where it doesn't have any pack mates, so it's still lonely at the end of the day. But I gave it a life feeder and a carnivore feeder too, and I didn't even want to bother it super much, so I just gave it a viewing platform. And yeah, it's cool. You can it's just living its own life in there, and it was actually dying too, so I kind of saved its life. But I think the name was really smart because first I just watched it, wanted to see how it's like the way it held itself, and I was thinking let's name it, and then I lost train of thought. I just got distracted by something. I think I was eating food at this point. And speaking of eating food, there goes the little raptor. And as I was thinking, finally I got hit with it. Beth Bezos, because you know Jeff Bezos is really rich, but Beth Bezos will make this park richer. So yeah, I thought that was pretty smart of myself. So I then realized we needed lots of shelters too, so I decided to put lots of shelters by the zip lines because, you know, people might get injured because the spino might jump up and eat them. So yeah, just good to have lots of shelters everywhere, you know. And this building was really annoying me. Then I realized it doesn't need to be exactly where it is, but as long as you have the shelter somewhere close by, it'll just instantly fix it to where it's close enough. See, that part was red, and now it's all green. Yeah, I was watching this. I saw a Dilophosaurus got poisoned. I was like, I put Troodons in there. Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. So then I realized that the reason my park wasn't doing super well was the guest appeal. So first off, I added some monorails, you know, because I feel like monorails are always a good idea. So I put it around the Dinosaur Fight Club. Made sure not to go through Beth Bezos' enclosure, but it's good. And don't want to bother Beth Bezos. Somehow I can go through the zip lines, which I thought was pretty interesting, but I didn't really think about it too much. Over the piles of dung, but make sure to stay away from the coffee burgers, because you don't want to expose the park's biggest secret, that we serve coffee burgers. But then I realized that this isn't really helping my guests move around the park. So I added a few more stations all around the park just to make it so they can actually use the monorails to actually traverse, you know, instead of just, oh wow, you ride it, you look at everything, and then you're back right where you started after waiting in that giant hour-long line. And it was also around this time where I noticed that my stupid tour finally got attacked by a T-Rex or something, and it got shut down, which is very unfortunate, but hey, it lasted a lot longer than I thought it would have, so I'm still pretty happy with that. Yeah, right here is, and I'm like, what is going on? Because there's lots of dead dinosaurs, but I decided I'll always add a few more, you know. Coelophysis and Stegosaurus are kind of slept on personally. I just like them. I like their sleek designs, you know. So yeah, I had a whole bunch more, and this is a bloodbath in here. And yeah, park rating, the accommodation rating is also pretty bad, so I needed to up my amenities. So I decided I need to start placing them and actually configuring them around the place. But as I start doing that, you'll soon to learn that was probably the biggest mistake I made this entire video. Because I started going through it a bit too fast, and it doesn't even show me the views anymore. So I was getting really confused. But instead of stopping it, I just kept on clicking it and kept on clicking it and kept on clicking it until finally the game slowed down a lot for me. And all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, and my stars went up, and then poof, my game crashed. Yeah, make fun of me all you want, my game crashed. But what scared me was I thought it deleted the entire file, because sometimes when the game crashes with mods, it will just delete the entire save. And I was really hoping it wasn't, because I'd already spent probably, I don't know, 45 minutes on it, but also I was planning it and taking breaks too in between each video. So it was already been a couple hours that I really hope I hadn't wasted. But luckily, as you'll find out, it wasn't the worst. But alas, all was not lost. I quickly loaded back to my game and realized it was pretty much all the same. But it did take 2 minutes to load, which did scare me a lot. I was like, oh no. Yeah, I don't know why it took that long actually. Probably because I loaded in like 50 compy burgers. But yeah, so I just happily continued and thankfully continued to uh, finish all my amenities. I checked how many dinosaurs I had. I had like 164 or something like that. So yeah, fixing my amenities is probably super important because it's already 3.5 stars. So super close to 4 stars, you know. So yeah, I was happy about that. So I started configuring them, just putting them all across the park. And I soon realized that my stars were going up pretty quickly, you know. This is already one done. And I don't even have to fully configure it. As long as I just get like the red bars filled out, for those who don't know how many these work, because let's be honest, who really uses them in their parks much? Just like that, it starts bringing you lots of money, which makes the guests happy. Because happy guests spend lots of money, and guests spend lots of money are happy. I don't really know how it works, but that is how it works, so best to not question it sometimes. So yeah, I just kept on configuring, swapping between like food. I was planning to swap between food ones, drink ones, and toy ones, but then I realized, or I hadn't realized, I was already at 4.5 stars, which was pretty cool. When all of a sudden, boom, I missed that flash, but I checked. Both my castles had died. Next thing I knew, I was at 5 stars. So, yeah, I was very happy about that because, I made the most horrible park 5 stars. Super unethical, but yeah, it worked. All in all, I was super happy with this project. I hope you guys enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed making this. Like, making this probably even like my favorite experience of ever making a YouTube video. And yeah, so the rest of this is just me doing a voiceless just tour throughout the entire park. You can watch it if you want, but I don't blame if you don't. But please like and subscribe. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. That's my dream goal. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next time. Bye bye.